Hey, welcome back. Dr. Bill Cook doing our program, Staying Fit After 60. So we're doing 3 modules. We've done 2 already. The first one was on memory. The second one was on getting movement. And the last one, which is my favorite today, is about energy, because I want you to have more energy than you know what to do with, even if after you're 60 years old. So let's talk about that today. You know, here's the definition of energy on a regular basis. It's the capacity to do work or move an object, because that requires force and energy. But today we're going to talk about a different force. Today we're going to use energy more as a life force, your ability to sustain life and move in a direction of health and well-being, because that's what we want for you. See, if you don't have enough energy to get through the day, you're tired out, you're fatigued, that means your body on a cellular level is not happening like it should be. Or for an example, if you can't even play with the grandkids and enjoy those things, you deserve more than that for your life. And energy is that production that's going to give you the ability to get out and move and do more things that you enjoy. So that's my focus today to accomplish with you. Let's talk about energy in a different way here. So how does your body acquire energy? Well, there's 3 ways. We know we need air, right? You have to breathe. We know we need food. You have to eat. And also we know one more thing that's so important. So when I do my talks in the office here, I always leave that one for last because I think it's the most important one. So we're going to go through these other couple topics, but let me give you an example of that. There's one thing missing ingredient that we don't think about on a daily basis about our health, and we're going to cover that at the end. But let's think about this. If someone was lying on the floor dead, and please don't be you, lying on the floor dead, if I said, hey, Mary Jo, come you bring the water and pump some water, some air, some O2 into this body, you think it's coming back alive? No, of course not. I'm going to say, Joe, you bring the Big Mac, stuff it in the mouth, get a little chomping going. You think it's going to get that person back alive? No, there's something else missing, and that's what I'm going to go over with you today. But I am going to go over the first 2 because they are important, which is oxygen and food. So let me cover that with you today. So let's talk about oxygen. You know what? There's been a couple scientists that have done great work with oxygen, revealing how much important it is to have you have a cellular level full of oxygen, because oxygen is energy for the cell and brings health. And there's a way that compound does. It goes through breathing. O2 gets into the system, O2 gets into the bloodstream, O2 gets to the cellular level with carbohydrates. What it does, it mixes and matches and gives you what we call ATP. That's the energy source of the cell that supports all your cells within your body. You know, scientists revealed by adding O2 in cells, they could live for decades. I'm just going to get his name here, Dr. Alex Carroll was a Nobel Prize scientist who dealt in what we call cellular respiration, which is the air brought into cells, and how it affects the oxygen levels and how it affects your health. He found that if he added O2 to cells with other food nutrients and energy, he could keep that cell going forever. In fact, the guy's gone now, and those cells were still living. They finally banished the experiment because it was just going on forever. We know that we can get these cells to live forever in that environment. So that's kind of crazy, isn't it? The next thing they also did is Dr. Wahlberg, back in 1931, many years ago, again, another expert, Nobel Prize winner, did on cellular inhalation rehabilitation, found that if he reduced the O2 in cells of rats, when they took them out and put them in bell jars, they took these cells and reduced the O2 to a certain level. They found that what would happen to the cell, they would start to mutate. And what that means, what does mutate mean? Yeah, it's cancer. It's the things that cause us more disease in our body. So that's what Dr. Wahlberg did, and found that if he could get the supply of O2 up again, cells would respond in the healthy rats, and they would become healthier by having the proper levels of O2. So what is my point? O2, oxygen, so important for you to have, so important for you to breathe. So breathing exercises that you can do can increase your O2 and release the toxins from the cells once those cells have been nourished with their oxygen and ATP is working. Also, those cells need to get rid of that, and that's the other expiration of the cell, which is getting the toxins that are already used up out of the cell, into the lymphatic system, out of your body. So here, how does that work? Well, either whether you're doing respiration of the cell, or the cell is extracting those toxins, it's required by breathing. So here's what I like to do, and I think it's really a good one that you could practice yourself, is take diaphragmatic breathing, breathing from your diaphragm. And here's what you do. So you breathe in, and I'm going to shorten this up. So you breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd want you to hold it for 18 seconds, holding that oxygen in for 18 seconds. Count up to 18. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding your breath up to 18. And then exhale 8 seconds to get rid of that CO2, that's carbon dioxide that's within the cell. So this is a breathing exercise that many people use. Yoga is really good about that. They use proper breathing exercises. That's why it's so good for you to balance between movement and oxygen. But so let's tell you to do this 3 times a day. But I want you to make sure, start out in a lower amount. Maybe just take 2 breaths of inhalation. Hold for a count of 16. Hold for a count of 8. And then exhale for a count of 4. Let me repeat that because I got a little, I'm trying to lower the numbers so you don't pass out on me by trying the first numbers, the 4, 18, and 8. So we're going to go in for 2. Hold. We're going to count for 4. Count for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exhale for 4. So you get it. 2, 8, and 4. Do that 3 times a day, but take that breath and do repetitions starting out with 3 of those breaths each time, like doing those 3 times each 3 times a day, and then work yourself up to 7 breaths doing that, inspiration, hold, expiration. And that'll, again, increase the oxygen. You do that for 10 days. I guarantee you're going to feel better. You're going to oxygenate your blood, and blood is passing down that oxygen to the cellular level to give you energy. So important. Try the breathing exercise. You know what? Next thing is I want to talk about is, can emotions change your energy? Absolutely. How do you feel when you're down and depressed? Yeah, you feel sick almost, don't you? And if it goes on long enough, if it's something in your life that was a crisis for long periods of time, you almost start to understand that your body is breaking down. Well, stressors like fear, anxiety, anger, resentment are definitely detrimental because it causes you to hold your breath, throws out hormones into your system that doesn't allow cells to get the proper energy. And again, shorter breath, less oxygen, less energy, you're going to have issues with your body being able to sustain. But let's say, have you ever been to the point where you woke up one morning, hopefully it was yesterday or today, and you said, man, I feel so great, but you have love in your heart. You're showing significant thoughts of happiness, So how does the difference feel? So we know physiology can definitely be changed by emotions in your state. Dr. Emoto, I love this, and it's kind of a controversial thing about his studies, but I watched it. I think it's, if you go to Dr. Emoto and watch his little program on YouTube, I think you'll find it to be kind of a fun experiment to see what he did. So what he did is he found changes in water crystals when he introduced different thoughts and patterns, and toxins too. So the crystals, as you can see in the upper part of the screen here, were beautiful when thoughts were put on the bottle of happiness, love, and intention. And then he would look at these under a microscope to see how the cells of water would crystallize. And he found out they became beautiful. The one over here, the I hate you, is what happened when they wrote on the bottle. Same technique, same basis. They actually, it's kind of crazy, looked on the microscope, and this is the formation that what happened when they wrote I hate you on the jar and put that intent into the water. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's a long study. You can look at it, go to Dr. Emoto, YouTube, or Google it. I think you'll find it fun. You know what it did for me? It just changed my mind that, our thoughts do have a big part in play of how healthy we feel. And we know that. You know that. So what should you do? You know what? Get out of the way of these negative thoughts. Start your day in peace and harmony. That's what we say, with deep breathing and intentional thoughts. Like, I like to do that in the morning when I first wake up. lay there on my back, just take some deep breaths and say, you know what, God, thank you for everything in this part of the day. I look forward to being blessed today. I look forward to you granting me good health and great health. I look forward to seeing my children, whatever you need to do. But that's what I do in the morning. Thank God I can come in to see you patients and take care of you. That's my start of the day. I try to do that every morning without a miss. But I do miss. I'll be totally honest and upfront with you. But if I do it every day or most of the days, I know I get my intent already going that I want to be healthy. I want to feel happy, and I do want to feel terrific, which you saw in that module 1 when we talked about that, right? So anyways, get in the morning, start some deep breathing, get that oxygen flowing, breathe out as normal breaths, and then give that intentional thoughts. I think you'll find that to be really helpful for you. So that is when we talk about oxygen to the cell. Again, oxygen with carbohydrates produces ATP, increases your energy, and gives you more vitality within your body. There's that second thing we have to talk about, though, which is probably we're really, really bad at in America, is our food for energy. I mean, we eat the wrong stuff, don't we? We overply our plates with all sorts of crazy diets, whether it's just this one or just the food of protein, or I get that. I get that there's an understanding that certain diets can cause certain reactions, but they're for certain short times. They're not for long term, So here's what you want to think about more long term. How is the body actually, let's look at it this way. I'm going to back up. Sorry. Let's look at it this way. 70% of the planet is made of water, right? Okay. 80% of your body is made of water. So what do you think would be the best food to eat for your body to assimilate nature? Yeah, you got it right. Water. There's water-based foods. Those are called fruits, vegetables, and sprouts. Those are the things that you should nourish your body with. And I think, in my thought, when I look at what we say is it's easy as looking at your plate servings, I try to get 70% of my plate full of fresh fruits, vegetables, or sprouts. That way, I'm getting enough of that water-based food to sustain my life and be healthy as I should. The other part is for those fats that are needed. We talked about those in the previous episodes. So go back and look at that, which in episode module 1 and module 2 both talked about what foods to eat. But that's what I put on my plate, along with those healthy fats and healthy proteins that are good for you. So, think about that. Here's a fun fact that I thought was kind of cute. Fun fact, your body's energy vibrates at 70 hertz, right? So every cell has a vibration to it, electrical vibration. Your body vibrates at 70 hertz. Big Macs, if you take a Big Mac and they took the vibration, because it's pretty much anaerobic dead tissue, right, that you're eating, is 5 hertz. Veggies and fruits, 70 hertz, just like nature, same as your body. Get this, a rose, just in a rose itself, and they took the vibration, 125 hertz. And I know there's rose oils and different things that you can do to help yourself, but I'm just kind of giving you the idea. The more closer we get to nature, the more closer we eat to nature, the better off we're going to be. And that's what I want you to do. Start thinking about what passes your lips, okay? I mean, there's so many synthetic products out there that we're eating that the body does not know how to assimilate with, that are just going to make you sick, and guess what? Steal your energy. Because if you're putting in food that has low energy, low purpose for the cells, then you're going to get sick. That's how it works, okay? So let's talk about this. What was that last component I talked about that you need to sustain your life? Remember I said, yeah, we can shove some air in that poor dead person. We can shove some McDonald's Big Macs in that person. But there's one more thing required, and it is what? I know patients usually tell me, yeah, doc, the cell needs exercise. Well, no, there's no little guys down there pumping iron in your cells, right? It doesn't work that way. What your body needs, the last one, most important ingredient to your health, is energy itself, right? So what energy are we talking about? So a cell needs a electrical supply going to it so it can function within that air, within that food, and assimilate and become healthy tissue. So what does that mean? Well, it's not electrical energy like you think. You can't plug yourself into an outlet and go, wow, I feel better now, right? My cells are functioning normal. It's not that. No, it requires energy of what we call life force and universal intelligence, because, there is something greater than us. I call it God, you call it what you want, but there is something greater than us that made every living tissue and cell and purpose of this planet, right? So here's the deal. That is intelligence that is brought down from a certain part of the body to make your body affect. Well, give me an example of that. I want to back up a little bit because, again, I regress a little bit with you, but I want to do this. Let's think about this in this way. So how intelligent does that energy need to be? Give me an example. Your eyes blink 17,000 times a day, blinking, right? Your heart pumps 100,000 times a day. Lub-dub, lub-dub, lub-dub. Your liver in itself, right, has 500 functions it needs to do to make you survive and be healthy. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think electrical input energy from that light socket or that wall socket over there is going to sustain that? No. You have to have smart intelligence, what I like to call it, right? It's the intelligence that comes through the body into the cells and knows if it's an eye cell, knows if it's a heart cell, knows if it's a muscle cell. It knows what it knows what it knows. Now, I'm going to mean that to you as this. Listen, that intelligence, each cell has to have its specific intelligence to become healthier and make you up as a whole and healthy human being, okay? So, like I said, that's called life force or life intelligence. So, what is the pathways to that, How does it get from out there, right? So when you're dead, it's gone. How does it get from there to here to each cell of your body? Well, we know it's the central nervous system. It's the brain and the nervous system that functions your body. So where does input start with? In the brain, right? You can't live without the noggin, can you, right? If you got what proved that? The guillotine, right? If they broke a person's neck, what would happen? Function would stop from here down, correct? Yes. So that means the brain, and I'll just share this with you. The purpose of the brain and nervous system is to control and coordinate the functions of all cells, tissues, organs, and systems of the body. So every cell, every organ, every tissue, all this needs to combine to be a healthy you. That means those systems like cardiovascular, right? Your endocrine system, your digestive system, all need this intelligence to function normally. And it's brought down from the brain, what we call above down, inside out, to each cell in your being. So, what does that mean to you? Well, it means this. If you focus on that, what's the brain actually doing? It's creating function. Because look at what health is, and this is a definition of that. Health is a condition of wholeness, which the body functions at 100% all the time, not merely the absence of disease and infirmities, which means that if your body's functioning normally, you will have some infirmities. You may throw up a day if you get the bug because you're trying to get rid of it. Health is not that. Health is functioning, that each cell knows what to do at the specific time in the specific moment to react as it should, just like I said with blinking heart, all that stuff, So that's what I want you to understand. I hope I simplified that enough. I'm not trying to make this too complicated for you today. I just want you to know that each cell has to have a specific nerve energy. And hey, fun fact. You know how much it would take to run your body in 1 minute to just function normally? What kind of size of a computer? This is kind of a fun fact. It would take a computer the size of the Empire State Building, right? To run for just 1 minute of your function, and the Hudson River to cool it down. Isn't that crazy? So that's a fun fact. So it just shows how intelligent we really are. We don't need to fear disease. We don't need to fear infirmities. We have to have and understand there's an intelligence that is in the body to make the body heal and to keep it alive. Okay? So that's what I want you to really hang into. As long as you're giving it good food and air and water, right? Oxygen, all those things that combine, it has to have that that energy to function normally so it knows what to do. Okay, let's talk about this then. So, what is one of the great interruptions of this life force? Well, this is where chiropractic study comes in, and that way we look at the body, as long as it's getting good air, good food, and plenishable, it should be able to sustain itself. It should be able to fight that bug. But here's something that happens in the body that cuts off this nerve flow. It's called vertebral subluxation. I'll just read it to you. Vertebral subluxation is a misalignment of one or more vertebrae in the spine, causing interference and reducing or reduction in the nerve flow or transmission. That's a simplified version. I'm not going to get into the big science with you, but I just want you to understand that, again, I'm just going to reach down here for a moment, that if we look at the spine, we have the brain up here sending messages down the spine, right? And each one of these nerves, 31 pairs, goes to a specific cell, tissue, organ, and system, right? So that's how the body works. For an example, if I was to cut this nerve at the base of my neck, right, and my arm's sticking out, what would happen if I cut that nerve? Yeah, of course, my arm would drop. But that same nerve has branches from what we call motor to autonomic, which keeps your heart functioning. So what do you think your heart's doing? If you cut that nerve off, the arm drops, the heart does what? Yeah, fibrillation, doesn't know what to do, goes into spasms. That's exactly what would happen, and no doctor can disagree with that. So another example of that, Christopher Reeves, and a very sad story. If you're our age, 60 and older, you know him as Superman. Well, he was riding a horse, and when he flew off the horse, the front of the horse making a jump, he hit his head very hard and broke C1 and C2. He broke these two vertebrae. And what happened to him immediately? He was quadriplegic, wasn't he? And you know what? So life force from the brain to the tissue could not get to his arms and his legs, and those stopped working. At the same time, his terrible story goes on that also he had to be fed by tube, right? He had to have movements done by therapists. He had to have massage for his digestion. He had had bags for his digestion to eliminate. The reason why is because when you cut off nerve flow from the brain to the cells, to the tissues, to the organs and systems, you can't function. Now, here's the good news. Most of us are never going to go through that. God thankful, right? But most of us will have what we call a vertebral subluxation. It's less than a fracture, which means a vertebrae going out of place, just causing compression on the nerve, just like I'm doing with my finger here. If you just put a little bit of pressure on that end of your finger, you can see how your finger at the end will turn rapidly red, because what is it doing? It's cutting off flow. No different than stepping on a hose going to a garden. If you kept stepping on that hose more and more and more until there's not enough water getting to the garden, what would happen to the garden? It would die. Yeah, same thing, I want you to understand that, with vertebral subluxation. So you can see on the picture up here, we have normal disc spacings, the nerve flows out properly. What happens in subluxation, muscles and ligaments get pulled or tense or contracted. They pull the vertebrae out of its position, causing that pressure that I was showing you with my fingers, but more importantly on the nerves. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, that's a key component, because we find in chiropractic that most people are subluxated or out of alignment. Why would that be? Well, just think about it. Even delivery itself, when mama is delivering the baby and they have to use forceps or C-sections and pull the neck at a tremendous force and stress, we find that to be one of the first subluxations. Let's say you get through that. You go and you start to learn to ride your bike. And I'm going to make a joke. No, I won't. I was going to say Joe Biden. And you fall, right? So you fall on the ground, and that actually causes subluxation, because you took the muscles past the range of motion and caused the vertebrae to go out of alignment. Car accidents, poor posture, which is becoming more evident today with working on computers and being bent over and slouch postures, not moving. These are causing subluxations, which cause the lack of flow of life through those nerves. So what does that mean to you? All right. So listen, what chiropractic does in our office and what we focus on is chiropractic care utilizes several things, but most importantly, what we call spinal adjustment. That's to get a very, and you've probably seen it, and you might have Googled it or saw it on TV, where the cracking motion of the vertebrae, it sounds like the vertebrae is cracking, but literally it's just gas between the cushions that support the spine. That's actually releasing the tension within that system and allowing the vertebrae to bring back their mobility, which allows the nerve to become freed up. That's what a chiropractic adjustment does. And they're done many ways. We use an instrument, which is a very rapid force into the spine, very gentle, even use it on babies as well as our seniors. We do manual adjustment, which you do hear that popping sound and patients go, oh my gosh, that felt so good. All those things, those are adjustments. An adjustment means to put the vertebrae back into its normal position and out of that lux position so the vertebrae can start to, again, allow the nerve to come out freely and flow freely. So what else do we do? We also, in our office, remember we said number 2 module was mobility. We give spinal hygiene exercises. For every patient who comes in, we evaluate their posture, evaluate their range of motion, and we give them exercises that they can do on a daily basis, just like brushing your teeth. That's why I call it like dental hygiene, spinal hygiene. You can do these at home every day, starting your morning out. I do them in the shower. It's just good range of motion, getting your body moving in certain directions so it improves posture and improves function of the spine. Lastly, if you're really depleted in energy, we have therapies in here to enhance energy and healing. One of those are PEMF. I talked about that in mobility. So on module 2, you can go back and look at that. But that's just to help increase increase energy at a cellular level. So that's what we do as a chiropractor. And that's why energy is so important for you to function better. So listen. Let's sum this up from all 3 modules, and I'm just going to kind of read over this with you. On the reduction side, which means reduce stress in your body, because again, too much stress will give you low energy, less stress, higher energy, and that's how we want you to think about your body, and this simplifies it, so if you get nothing else, write this down on your piece of paper about what you should reduce and increase. Number 1 is reduce neurotoxins. We talked about that. Those metals and things that you can avoid, like in the teeth. Mental stress. Get a handle, a grip on how you think. Make choices, make better choices. Check out what friends you're hanging around. Are they negative? Are they making you sick? Avoid unhealthy processed foods and sugars. I think we have all the information, what you're not supposed to eat. I think you know all about that, but we do outline that in that first module as well. Reduce inflammation in the body and avoid a stagnant, it says straight, but it should say stagnant lifestyle, being, not moving, not getting around, not getting exercise. Again, module 2, we talk about that. And the last one is avoid that stagnant lifestyle. Again, that goes back with the one about the one above about if you are stagnant, you're going to create more inflammation. That's why, the rings get tight, too much fluid in your system. You're not pumping out that lymphatic system enough. And the lymphatic system works on breathing, and the lymphatic system works on exercise. So make sure you get into a situation where you're moving, please. And start where you need to start, right? We're talking to stay fit after 60. So if you're watching this and you're 70, 80 years old, you may not start at a certain level that I would talk about, like that breathing, for an example. Start at a lower level. Do what you can, but do something. And here's what you should do. So let's talk about increasing resistance in your body. Improve brain function. Make it active, do puzzles, do all those things we said in module 1. Detox your body. Try to get rid of some of these heavy metals and those things that we accumulated over the years and get it out of your system, right, of elimination. Practice breathing and relaxation. We talked about that in module 2, and I talked about it today. So make that part of your daily routine, even if it's that morning routine where you're waking up, taking deep breaths, blowing them out, just cleansing your system. Cleanse your mind, cleanse your body. Feel that oxygen. Picture it rotating or going within your system, right? This is what you should be doing each day. Eat a healthy diet, right? Again, we talked about that specifically in module 2, and we did a little bit today in module 3, but eat high energy foods, high water-based foods, and you will feel better, because you will not be struggling with your body's digestive system, just trying to use up energy just to digest stuff that you shouldn't have in your body. Make sense? All right. So lastly, get plenty of exercise and see your chiropractor regularly for checkups. That's what I do. You know, there's not a month goes by without myself getting adjusted. I have those, you know, here, let me just tell you a story, you know, about to finish this up. And that's what I want to go over with you. Again, I see so many patients in our office that are over 60 that do not have the energy to even function through the day. They're miserable. You can even see it in their posture. You know, have you seen somebody like that? Their posture is forward. They're bent over. They just have no vitality. That is something that happened over time. Do you understand? Happened over time. So to reverse this process is going to take a little time. Bring yourself up one step at a time. One segment at a time, you know. Get to the point where you're going to focus on getting more energy every day, because then you can play with those grandkids. Then you can stay up, you know, past 6 o'clock without snoring off in the chair. Your body is meant to be in movement and have energy. You deserve it. You require it, and nobody else can take it away from you but you. So listen, if you're a patient and you want more energy, ask one of our doctors here about how we can help you improve your energy. And any questions you may have from our 3 modules, please write them down, bring them in. We will take the time with you to answer those questions. And lastly, I promise, is if you're not a patient in our office, you happen to see this video and you would like to be a guest to our office, we have a guest pass on our website that you can go to, www.cookchiropracticclinic.com, a lot of mouthful there, www.cookchiropracticclinic.com, and you can pick up our Staying Fit over 60 complimentary examination. We're offering that for the next month. You get all the information that we gave you today as far as why chiropractic is important for you, how we can help you maybe with your diet, how we can help you maybe with your exercise. So we want you to be our guest. We love our community. I've been here for 40 years. I can't believe it. Started in February, 40 years. I just love doing what I do, helping and serving our people in our community, and I hope that you can be one of those. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the 3 modules. If you didn't watch them all, go back. They're still on Facebook. You can see each module, take some notes, and listen, live a happy and a healthier and a more energetic life. God bless you.